Hey guys, welcome back to our fifth episode. This will be the first episode of Outsiders Opinions on Spotify. If you would like us to expand our podcast to other platforms, please let us know in the comments. Thank you to our new subscribers. We appreciate all the love. Now, today we will discuss four MLB teams that we consider World Series or bust. The first team we talk about today is the LA Dodgers, who, before the season started, traded for Mookie Betts. What do you think about that trade, Austin?
It's worked out well. Mookie Betts is one of the best players in the entire MLB. He is really a game changer on defense and hitting. He's a novelty. I'm surprised that Boston even decided to trade him, even though he probably was not going to re-sign after his contract ended. I mean, he's been amazing this year. He is tied for the National League lead in home runs with 16. He has a 303 batting average. I mean, outstanding player.
Yeah, and you combine that player with Corey Seager and Cody Bellinger, that's just amazing. And I don't care what the Red Sox got for trading Mookie Betts and David Price, the Dodgers, in my opinion, win it. I don't have to see what players they gave up.
I
This,
disagree. They only win the trade if they win a ring. If they don't win a World Series, I would say that Boston won the trade because they don't have to have the cap issues that the Dodgers will have soon. Well, not cap issues because there is no cap, but just the monetary value that all those players are going to cost is monumental. And if they don't win a ring, the players that the Red Sox got back will most likely help them in the future more than Betts and Price will after these next 5 seasons. So they win the trade if they can win a ring from it. If not, then it may be 50-50. Um, I like their chances. They're my favorite to win the World Series, but they 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 proved before that they don't know how to win, and maybe Mookie Betts has one before, can show or can teach his teammates how to get it done when it matters. The
yeah,
what was that?
yeah. I think they're gonna win one, especially with their a young pitcher in Walker Bueller combined with Kershaw if he's able to stay healthy. And then back to you.
Yeah, their defense and pitching is outstanding. There's no real holes in their game unless you can get to Mookie Betts early and get in his head a little bit. It makes him think a little bit more about. I mean, just he's had some bad games, but for the most part, Mookie Betts is outstanding and will probably get some MVP votes, if not win it. Um, I'm interested to see how the Dodgers will do in the playoffs. As like I said before, they've especially last year against the Nationals, who had no business beating them. If that'll get to their head if they while they play their games, but I mean they play. Well, it's looking like they're going to play a team who may be below 500 or very close to 500. Um, right now, the Reds have the last spot. I don't think the Reds will get the last spot. Um, but if they do, the Reds should have no business even contending with a team of the Dodgers' nature. But well, I mean that's why they play the games, right?
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it a little bit. Their offense incredible with the addition of Mookie Betts, but they lost Hee-Jin Ryu to the Blue Jays, and David Price opted out. So their fatal flaw to me for the Dodgers is their pitching, especially if Clayton Kershaw is injured. And I think that's going to be a key proponent because we saw in last year's World Series the two teams with the best rotation in the Astros and the Nationals that helped them get there, and I think pitching is key. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Pitching is the that pitching wins championships. It's really why the Nationals could do it. Steven Strasburg really proved why he is an elite pitcher in the league, and that's why he won World Series MVP. And Max Scherzer helped him out, and They got great starts from players who I never thought would give such great starts, and it was really cool last year seeing them win. But obviously, as they're 19-31 like they were last year, but they don't have enough time to come back like they did last year, especially with the injuries they have. Um, I think we should move on to the Yankees, who uh, they've been dealing with injuries like they have almost every season since 2017. Uh, Garrett Cole's played a big role for them, even though he's been a little bit shaky as of late. They won 10 straight before they lost today. Luke Voigt's leading the entire MLB in home runs. They still can do it, even though right now they're a 5 seed. They're definitely World Series or bust with this roster now that Judge and Stanton are becoming more healthy.
Yeah, and we saw them make that huge addition of Garrett Cole, who was in the World Series for the Houston Astros, and I think he will be. I think he'll pick it up in the playoffs, and that will be key as the Yankees finally have an ace. And like we were just talking about the Dodgers, the Yankees have an incredible offense. You mentioned Luke Voigt. You also have Aaron Judge and Stanton, but they are facing injuries. So if they can stay healthy, then they can make it. I'm surprised though they didn't add another pitching piece at the deadline. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to make trades right now because it's just the value of each player seems weird right now because of a 60-game season. Um, I, DJ LeMahieu's played amazing ever since he came back from injury. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, and there's no way around it. Uh, he's going to be a big player for them if he can just stay healthy and continue what he's doing. Whenever they had an ace, the Yankees did, but Luis Severino just cannot stay healthy. He had to get Tommy John surgery just like Verlander had to for the Astros, which we'll get to here in a second. But I mean, it's just if they stay healthy, I honestly still see them winning the American League. That right now is being led by uh, two teams I didn't think would have this big of an impact. While I did see the Rays playing well this year, they just vaulted themselves into the top seed. And right now, the White Sox, who nobody saw coming, was are in second. So, do you want to move on to the Astros?
Yeah, we can move on to the Astros, who they need to win one, as in their last one, they're heavily aided by trash cans, and they sadly and thankfully they lost those. As that's how that I think cost. We've talked about this. That cost the Yankees a chance at the World Series, and that cost the Dodgers a win at the World Series.
Yeah, both went to seven against them, and the Yankees never lost a home game. Well, when they were in New York and lost all the games in Houston, I think they had a better chance than the Dodgers. Although, I mean, we would have seen what would happen if they both would have made it, which I don't. I both think they were better teams than the Astros that year in the playoffs. They both were so high. I mean, the only way the Astros could have done it was with cheating, and they. I don't know if they have many other chances. I think Verlander's career is almost over. Having a Tommy John surgery this late in your career is almost always a telltale sign of just the career being jeopardized. Uh, Without him, it's going to be hard. They do have some good pitchers, but and some great players who haven't played all that well this year. Their World Series are bust because if they don't win it this year, I don't know another year that they could even make the playoffs, especially if we go back to the 5 team format. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I agree. And you talked about pitching. They lost Garrett Cole, and the combination of Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander was ridiculous last year, and that helped them get to. That was a key in getting them with the trash can for hitting. But you don't have Garrett Cole and you don't have Justin Verlander, as you said. That's a huge blow. But they still do have Zach Greinke, who I think is a good pitcher. But as you've talked about, their hitting is not the same. And I think player teams in their division is starting to get better, like the Athletics. And I think the LA Angels, if they can just find some pitchers, they can start making a good run at in their division. So that division is getting a lot stronger against Astros. So they may not have it, and I think they need to win a World Series to kind of get rid of like, hey, we're still a great team, even though we cheated.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think the final team we'll be talking about is the Phillies, who made huge additions, but they haven't had much playoff success. What are your thoughts on this team, Austin?
Yeah. When we were looking at teams that we considered to be World Series or bust, we had to look at teams that we didn't think were going to get much better. The Phillies have some older players and players who need to win one to add to their career stature, like Andrew McCutchen. They have some pitchers who have already won something, like Jake Arrieta, or been there before with Zach Wheeler. Bryce Harper they added, who's supposed to be this out of world talent, but hasn't proven to be that over the top player that we've seen in like Mookie Betts, who we talked about earlier. Uh, when we talk about teams like the Rays or the Athletics, while they are really good, I feel like they'll get better next year and the years after when they have a full season to go on. Same thing with the Braves. But because they have young players who are continuing to grow, like Glasnow with Tampa and other players with other teams, and the White Sox are obviously good this year, but they're definitely not World Series or bust. As like I said, they will get better in the future. The Phillies, though, they don't have much time. I feel like, especially with this core. Now, while Bryce Harper's contract is very long, and I could see him later on being on a team that just they need to do something almost immediately. It'll be a very disappointing year if they don't at least make it to uh, the NLCS. Yeah, or even the World Series. I mean, I don't see how they do it, but they're a team who it's very disappointing if they don't do something, and they're going to have a tough task going against the Cubs if everything stays how it is right now. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
and with Bryce Harper, he left the Nationals, I believe, 2 years ago. I'm correct, if I'm
Yes,
correct.
yes.
And
The year before they
and
won,
yeah,
2018.
so if he's so good and he leaves, the Nationals win a World Series without him. That puts some pressure on him. So if he's going to Phillies to win a World Series, it's World Series or bust. That's why you signed him, and you have pitchers, and they also got JT Realmuto back. So I think they have huge additions, but not much playoff success. So it's World Series or bust because the fan base is going to be really angry with Bryce Harper as he's supposed to be so good, but they don't give him a World Series.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, there's so many young teams who are just showing out right now, like the aforementioned White Sox, the Marlins, who I mean, if they make the playoffs, would be my pick to win the World Series, just because every year that they made the playoffs, they've won a World Series. But in all seriousness, the Phillies need to prove to their fan base that they're actually moving in the right direction. Right now, I can't prove that that's the case, and it's disappointing to see a team with so much talent do this poorly.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think we have a lot of young teams, and we haven't even mentioned the San Diego Padres, who are doing amazing right now. But we'll talk about that in future episodes. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, give us a like. Please be on the lookout for our next episode about the Stanley Cup Finals. Stay tuned if you would like to hear more of Outsiders' Opinions. Don't forget to check out Spotify as this will be the first episode on that platform. Thank you for choosing to listen. Thank you for choosing to listen to Outsiders' Opinions on your weekend.